Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. It has been a while since I've been online, and that's because I have been visiting with my son and his wife and my lovely grandkids. So today I want to do my mukbang of tacos. So I am here at Taco Bell. I just ordered myself a Mexican pizza. I don't like beans on those Mexican pizzas. So I always tell them to keep the beans and add more meat. So, yes. That looks awesome. I ordered this whole new chicken. It's a crispy chicken wrap. So hopefully you guys can see that. You can't see it, so much sunshine. So hopefully you can see it. And so they asked me if I want like Chipotle sauce or do I want avocado ranch. I always associate Chipotle with spicy, and I don't like spicy, so I had them put avocado ranch on there. And then I got the lemonade berry freeze. Have you guys noticed that we're paying top dollar for food nowadays? And then you can't fill my cup up? Like, I ain't even took a sip. It looked like somebody took one for me, and then I asked for a large. That can't be a large. Like, that can't be a large. That must be a small. And then I am always loving, take a bite, the Cinnabons, and especially when they fresh, they melt in your mouth like butter. So delicious. So here's all my stuff. The Mexican pizza. The Cinnabons. I got the 12 pack. I don't know if you guys can see in there. So I got a bunch of them because they either sell them in two. Like, I don't understand that. They either sell you 2 of them or you can buy 12. 2 or 12. That's the only options. Okay. So, let me adjust my camera. Okay. All right, you guys. Okay. I finally got me a tripod. Do you know at Best Buy they got a whole section called vloggers? The vloggers section. So, okay. So that's where I went and got my little tripod from. And so now I'm going to try my taco. The crispy chicken taco. You can see the chicken under there. So it's a fried chicken tender, a little like. And up under there is the avocado ranch sauce. But then I always put the mild sauce on the top. So let's give it a try. It's supposed to be new. Okay. I'm spilling the sauce everywhere. That's the avocado ranch. And they gave me literally, what, 2 napkins for all this stuff I just bought. Okay. Okay. This is good. Turn the air up a little bit. This is so good. You see that? So delicious. Mm. Okay. This is so good, you guys. It's the 4th of July weekend. 4th of July holiday weekend. So what are you guys doing for the holiday? I mean, like, are you guys spending time with your family or friends? Or some people just like to spend that day alone. So, let's see. I'm trying to... There we go. Some people like to spend that day alone. So now I'm going to get ready and get into this pizza. Yes. Okay. So now... like I done took a bite off of that crispy chicken taco. That was really good, by the way. And then all the like crumbs and stuff that would have fell all over the car is all in this box on top of the pizza. What a wonderful place for it to fall, though. I always tell them to give me a fork. I can't believe they literally just gave me 2 freaking napkins. Let's see. So let's take a look. Now you can see all the sauce I've added to it. I am so in love with the sauce. Okay. My daughter-in-law made tacos the other day, but they were so good. Everybody ate them already. Let me see. Oh, this is good. This is really good. Pizza just the way I like it, y'all. Thin crust. Okay. Let me see if I can get right up to the camera with my one good napkin. Yes. So good. That's good. Now I just need. Mmm. Mmm. So good. Oh my God, you guys. So have you ever went somewhere and you tell them where you from? And they're like, oh my God, you're from Detroit? And everybody started turning around to hit the locks on their door. Get out of here. That, or the first thing they ask you is, let it melt a little bit in this sun right here. Two sips and it's like, and I'm like, but you guys got to come to Detroit. You got to see Detroit. Detroit is so beautiful. And they're like, well, all I hear about Detroit is, you know, the drugs. And the violence that go on. And my only question, my only answer to that period is, anywhere that there's a major city or people inhabiting the place that come with habits, there's going to be some of those issues there, sure. But if you're not a drug addict, I'm not a drug addict. So I don't hang around drug addicts or go places drug addicts go. All the beautiful stuff that it is to see in the state of Michigan, like that is not it. Michigan is known by 3 different things. We're known as the Great Lakes State because Michigan is so large that our state sits on top of 3 major lakes that services the entire world. And then we're known as Motown, the home of Stevie Wonder, The Temptation, the OJs, Diana Ross. We got the Motown Museum with a lot of these people that actually came before us or during our time even, and then made beautiful music. And so a lot of their stuff is in the building on display for you to see. And lastly, we're known as the automobile industry of the world because of what Henry Ford did. He literally planted his roots in Detroit and he built his automobile industry. And so even to this day, a lot of cars and trucks are still being produced and manufactured and shipped all over the world from Detroit. All these beautiful things to see in Detroit, you know? So, and a lot of people wouldn't know, like, the beautiful Cadillac cars and trucks that's out here. The beautiful Cadillac cars and trucks are definitely named after the guy that founded Detroit in 1701. He happened to be French. but his name is Mr. Antoine Delamuth Cadillac. So the Cadillac brand of cars and trucks is most definitely named after the guy that founded Detroit in 1701, because when he founded Detroit, or Detroit, it then became a French colony. So the original and correct pronunciation for Detroit is Detroit, where the R is silent. I'm sorry. So, beautiful little fun fact right there. True story, which is why in the state of Michigan we got, everything is like, a lot of things are named after this guy, Cadillac, Antoine Delamuth Cadillac. So we have a whole coffee company called the Cadillac Bean Coffee. We also have a whole city in the state of Michigan called Cadillac Coffee. I'm sorry, Cadillac, Michigan. We have a line of luxury cars and trucks still being produced and manufactured by General Motors, which originally is Detroit. This is still being produced around the state of Michigan to this day, and those trucks and cars are still being shipped all over the world for people's enjoyment. And because we're known as the automotive industry of the world, a lot of people from Detroit they go out looking for those original old antique cars, or as my granddaughter calls it, antique. But they go out looking for those antique cars. They actually built those cars up as close to the original as possible. Or some of these young folks do what we call, they soup these cars up. Like literally, I mean literally. And every year in August, we have what we call the Dream Cruise. It's always for the weekend. The Dream Cruise, you can literally come, people come from all over the world just to show off their car. Just to show off their car or whatever kind of old piece of history that they have. So, you'll see things like the car called the Edsel, which is named after Henry Ford's son, Edsel Ford. But a lot of people don't realize that not only do we have General Motors and Ford in Detroit that's still building and manufacturing and producing cars, we also have Dodge. Dodge is also a surname, a family name. And it was started by the Dodge brothers, John and Horace Dodge. Both of these gentlemen passed away in 1920, leaving both of their wives filthy rich. So by the time 1925 came around, these two women were looking to sell the Dodge Motor Company to an investor. But by then, at that time when they were selling it, when the Dodge brothers were alive, everything that they had that was in their name, all of their products, all had the letters DB, which stood for Dodge Brothers. So the cars that they built, like the Hudson and stuff like that, the cars that they built was called the Dodge Brothers, or the DB, the Dodge Brothers Motor Company. So that's when the brothers were alive. But 5 years later, the women sold it to an investor in 1925. And so it's been almost 100 years since it's been in a Dodge family members' hands. Which is one thing I can say about the Ford family. Henry Ford's grandkids and great-grandkids, they're still owning and operating every inch of Ford to this day. Whereas the Dodge brothers sold their shares off, and General Motors, like the guy that started General Motors, I forget this gentleman's name, you guys, but he was like so good. He actually was able to bring a bunch of car companies together under one umbrella named General Motors. And then he actually was a gambler. What is his name? He was a gambler. He lost it all. He lost it all. And I remember when I read about his story that his wife once wrote to Henry Ford's wife that she was so broke that she couldn't even afford to pay her telephone bill after her husband had passed away, because they were just that broke. But they were so filthy rich. But this man gambled everything away. Is it William? Oh my God, you guys, this is gonna bother me. William Durant. That's his name. He's the original. He's the one that originally started the General Motors Corporation. He spent the rest of his life trying to get his fortune back, but passed away, and he wasn't able to do it. Once he died, Mrs. Ford made sure that she sent her, I think it was like $100 a month or something like that, to help supplement her income. But back in those days, $100 a month was a lot of money, you know. Today, $100 is not enough money to feed your family for the whole week, or yourself, probably. I was good, you guys. And so all I have left is my donuts and my drink. Let me see some more cool fun facts about Detroit. I mean, there's a lot of historic places in Detroit to go see. If I would say, like, if you are an outdoorsy type of person, come to Detroit and then go to an island called Belle Isle in Detroit. Belle Isle. Go to Belle Isle. It's like, Belle Isle is an island that sits in between Canada and Michigan. It sits in between literally two different countries. You have U.S., which is Michigan on one side, and then Canada on the other side. Let's see. On that island, it's a family fun state park today. Yeah, so people go over there to barbecue, to like ride their bicycles. They like to go walking. When we were kids, I remember going with my cousin, and like he would let us fly his kites around on Belle Isle. There's a jogging trail. There used to be walking paths all through the woods, but no one ever goes through there anymore. So it's like kind of overgrown. So they should like open it back up again. And if you ever get a chance to go, just notice that there is like a handful of homes that still exist on that island to this day. And so when you go over there, you'll notice that again, there's still a handful of homes, but it existed from the time period because people used to live on that island. Today, Belle Isle is deemed that nobody can ever live there outside of it being a state park. It can never be anything else outside other than a state park in this day. But when years ago, like over 100 and plus something years ago, it had to be more like 200, it was like maybe 200 and something years ago. But we had an Indian, since the only ones that's really native to the U.S. is Indians. We had an Indian that literally, when Christopher Columbus and people like Antoine Delamuth Cadillac came to Detroit and stated that he founded Detroit, well, what they really did was that they stole the Indians' land and then tried to sell it back to them with taxes associated to it. And once they did that, it upset one Indian in particular. His name happens to be Mr. Chief Ottawa Pontiac, which is where we got the brand of cars. Pontiac from. And we have the city in Michigan called Pontiac, and we have a city in Michigan called Ottawa. All of these things is named after that particular Indian. And that Indian commissioned his soldiers to all go over to that island, and they murdered everybody moving over there because they literally stole the Indians' land and then tried to sell it back to them with taxes associated to it. So, because of what Chief Ottawa Pontiac did on that island, the locals alive at that time deemed that no other person is ever allowed to live on Belle Isle. It can never be anything else outside of a family state park for people to come and enjoy. So today, that's what we do. We go and enjoy the island. So yeah, but I love the fun facts of history around us. But yeah, if you ever wanted to know more about Chief Ottawa Pontiac, then just Google Chief Ottawa Pontiac and then type in murders or killings on Belle Isle. What they did was they burned down all the structures on the island when they were running around that island in the middle of the night killing everybody. They burnt down all the structures that they could see just to keep from, that way no one would have anywhere to hide. So, and now there's, like I said, most of those structures are gone. There's a fly in here. Oh my God. Oh my God, is it out? Okay, so I don't see it right now. I'm trying to roll the window back up. Okay, so, but yeah. But definitely look that up. Look up about, you know, Antoine Delamuth Cadillac. Look up the Dodge brothers, John and Horace Dodge. I believe John Dodge died in January of 1920. He died when he went to New York at an auto show, and that's where he passed away from the Spanish flu. And his brother, Horace Dodge, happened to be in Florida at his winter, what he called his winter estate. And that is where he passed away in December of 1920. Again, both, and I think a lot of people thought at that time that he died of a heartbreak because his brother had passed away. And I think to myself, like, how wonderful, like, you died because you miss your brother that much, but then you had kids, man. You had kids and a wife out here. But yeah, a lot of these nuggets of truth are still around the state of Michigan for people to come and enjoy to this day. So definitely, if you ever get a chance to come to Detroit, come to our downtown. It's so beautiful. Like, people come from around the world just to come. We have 3 casinos downtown Detroit. We have what it used to be called Greektown Casino. Now it's called Hollywood Casino. Now, and we have the MGM Grand Casino, and we also have Motor City Casino, of course, because we're the Motor City of the world. Not only that, but there's a lot of fun stuff for everybody to do. So, like, there's an outdoor restaurants and bars and clubs, like, right in the middle of the street out there in Detroit. There's clubs and shopping and, like, concerts and alleys. There's so much fun stuff to do in Detroit. So, and I would tell people, like, don't go anywhere, not just to Detroit, but anywhere in fear. Like, because if someone is a predator and preying on somebody that is, like, scared all the time, that's the first thing they're going to pick up on someone that is in fear, because they're here to enjoy themselves. Never live your life like that, and never let someone else know anything like that about yourself, especially strangers. You don't know these people. Okay. Well, you guys, I gotta go. I got stuff to do today. And I'll see you soon.